You looked up at people your age and realized they're already there, and you're still here. Maybe it's a career, a marriage, a child, a calling you thought God had placed on your life years ago, and it still hasn't moved. And at some point, the question stopped being when and started being why me? Because waiting is one thing, but waiting while it looks like everyone around you is being answered, that's something else entirely. That feeling has a name, and it's not impatience. It's the creeping suspicion that God forgot you. Stay with me, because what I'm about to say is the thing most people never hear in church, and it might be the only thing that actually steadies you tonight. Here's what nobody tells you about the silence. It doesn't mean nothing is happening. It means you can't see what's happening. Those are not the same thing, and most people spend years treating them like they are. The wound goes deeper than that, though, because you haven't just been waiting. You've been praying, faithfully, specifically, on your knees, alone, saying the same thing over and over to a God who knows the end from the beginning, and you still got nothing you can point to. No confirmation, no open door, just a ceiling that your prayers seem to bounce off of. And at 2 a.m., when it's just you and your thoughts, you start wondering if you missed something, if you made the wrong choice somewhere back down the road, and now you're living in the consequence of it. Or worse, you start wondering if this is just what your life is. That's the real darkness, not the waiting, the wondering. Now listen to this. Habakkuk 2:3. For the vision awaits an appointed time. It hastens to the end. It will not lie. If it seems slow, wait for it. It will surely come. It will not delay. God didn't say the vision was canceled. He said it has an appointed time, which means it was already scheduled before you started panicking about whether it was coming. But here's what most people miss in that verse. God didn't say it would feel fast. He said it would not be late. Those are not the same promise. Think about Joseph. Not Joseph the patriarch on a poster. Joseph the teenager, thrown into a pit by his own brothers. Sold to strangers, carried into Egypt in chains. Joseph, who spent years in Potiphar's house before being falsely accused and dropped into a prison cell. Joseph, who interpreted the cupbearer's dream correctly, who asked one thing, "Remember me when you get out," and was forgotten for 2 full years. By any human measure, Joseph was behind, catastrophically behind. Every year that passed was another year that made the promise God had given him look less likely. And then, in a single morning, everything changed. Genesis 41:14, called out of prison, stood before Pharaoh, elevated to second in all of Egypt, not because the timing finally made sense to Joseph, but because it had always made sense to God. The delay was the preparation. And this is where it changes everything. What you're calling being behind, God calls it not yet ready. Not because you're broken, but because the thing He's preparing you for is bigger than what you currently have capacity to carry. The waiting isn't punishment, it's construction. Corrie ten Boom, who survived a Nazi concentration camp and went on to bring a message of forgiveness to tens of thousands. She didn't choose her timing. She didn't volunteer for suffering. But she said later that it was in Ravensbrück, in the darkness, that God built something in her that no classroom, no comfortable life, no early success could have produced. You don't have to be grateful for the pain, but you can stop assuming it means you're forgotten. Romans 8:28 doesn't say God will make everything feel good. It says He works all things, all of it, including the delay, including the unanswered prayer, including the 2 years Joseph sat in that prison. Together for good. Together, not separately. The whole of it. You are not behind. You are on schedule for something you haven't been shown yet. That's not a greeting card. That's the architecture of how God has always worked, with people who had every reason to quit and didn't. He hasn't forgotten your name. He knows exactly where you are. If this message found you at the right time, that's not an accident. Hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.